going on
We
there?
got one going right now. Russell Gahagan here from Russell's Fishing Tech, back with another video. This one's going to be a good one to sort of bounce off of what we talked about yesterday, which was flasher colors and sort of the makeup of flashers with tape and paint and blade color. What I want to do today is I want to go through the 16 fly series that Salmon Candy offers. So basically we're going to talk fly colors, which ones work, when they work, and why they work at that time in my opinion. So we'll start by probably the two staple flies that made Salmon Candy the name it is today, which is the Mercy UV. This particular fly right here is an aqua colored fly, blue in other words. It's got UV in it. This is probably one of Salmon Candy's most well-versed flies. Seems to work from the time you put your boat in the water to the time you take it out. It's just a very good fly. It also seems to work very well with both chrome and white flashers. Don't fish this one too much with green or chartreuse or anything like that, but I do fish it a lot with both chrome and white flashers. So that Mercy UV is a good all-around fly. Anytime is a good opportunity to try it and see if it's what the fish want that day. Illumination UV would be the other staple fly that's been around for a long time that made Salmon Candy what it is. This is a rubber-legged fly. It's got the rubber frog legs in it, but it's also got a lot of UV in it, so it's shiny. This fly for me works very, very well with chrome flashers. Seems to work very, very well in the first half of the season, you know, prior to July 4th. It's one of my go-to flies that I find myself running a lot, and it's just a really, really good overall fly. Right there with it, that's very close in look and color, is novocaine, which is very similar to the Illumination UV. The difference between the two is the Illumination UV has UV material in it, the novocaine has mirage. In the package, what you're going to find with a lot of Salmon Candy flies is that there is some that look similar to another one. Where you'll find a real big difference is a lot of times when you put them in the water. So mirage in the water has a purplish kind of blue look. The UV material has more of a copperish kind of look. So it ends up looking quite a bit different once you put them in the water versus in the package. This novocaine fly, again, I find myself using on chrome flashers primarily, and I really like this particular fly in the first half of the season prior to July 4th. Then we'll talk about the three really green flies that Salmon Candy offers. The first one would be the Ron Bros Mistress. This is kind of like a limey green type color. This is a warm water fly all the way. It's got UV material in it. It's got sort of a lime green in it. This is a great fly for behind a chrome or even a green flasher in the second half of the season after July 4th when the water started to warm up. Green, in my opinion, green flies in general work a lot better when the water gets warm. And this is definitely a warm water fly. Along with that is Brad's 21. Brad's 21 is a very popular fly with green rubber legs. It's got some mirage crinkle in it. It's a very, very good warm water fly again. It's one of my favorites to run behind a green flasher. I've ran it before behind chrome and white with success, but this is sort of a go-to the minute I start grabbing green blades out of my box, which is second half of the season. And No Mercy is basically the twin to the Mercy UV, but in a green version. This was probably one of the hottest Salmon Candy flies last year on the entire lake. We were getting phone calls like crazy last year for this one when we ran out of it. This fly again also seems to pick up right when the Mercy UV starts to get slow, maybe in that second half of the season. When the blue starts to not work as well and the fish want to start going to green flies, Mercy UV, the No Mercy, excuse me, seems to take over for that. We'll talk a little bit about two of our other blue flies. Ron Bros Exmistress, which is a powder blue. This is a great month of June fly. One of my favorite flies to run behind a white flasher in the month of June. I generally don't run a lot of white flashers early in the season, but I'll usually put one out and it'll almost always have this fly behind it. This is just a great fly to run early in the season when blue seems to really be working. Flashers like Megatron, trying to Matt's Mercy, blue jeans, any of those kind of colors. When that blue, this year it'll be that Stud's blue chin, Ron Bro's stud, anything that's got a lot of that blue bubble tape in it. This would be a great fly to match up with that, and I think it'll help you catch some early season king salmon. Then we got aquawizard, which is actually a very similar version of Mercy UV, but again, we've got Mirage in there instead of UV, so in the water it's going to look quite a bit different. This one, again, I think is more of a before July 4th fly, earlier in the season when the water is cold, up high in the water column. This particular fly is going to work really, really well. Then we'll touch base on a couple more here. Let's go through Glowing Leprechaun, which is one of the Poseidon series flies. It's identical to the Naughty Leprechaun, which I got right here, which is a sort of an aqua colored fly. Looks similar to Mercy UV, but doesn't have any UV material in it. And the Glowing Leprechaun has glow rubber legs in it. Both of these flies to me scream mid-season, July time frame. Probably are great white flasher flies. Will work with a chrome, may even work with a green, but to me both of these look like they're screaming, put me behind a white flasher. So if you want to try the Naughty Leprechaun or the Glowing Leprechaun, about 4th of July time frame or a little after maybe, try throwing these behind a couple of white Salmon Candy flashers. I think you'll find some success with those. One of the ones I'm the most excited about for this year was a Poseidon series fly, and it's called the 50/50 frog. It's very similar to the long-term fly from Salmon Candy called the Addiction. The Addiction's one of my favorite August flies. Just a great fly to run again behind a white or a green blade when the water gets warm. It's got a lot of little boy blue material in it. It's a very kind of, I would say, toned down fly. There's not any real bright colors in it. It's an awesome fly for me. A lot of guys term this as like a bullfrog. But this 50/50 frog's got a little bit different material in it. It's got a lot more glisten, a little more excitement to it, a little more pop. I'm going to definitely try this 50/50 frog quite a bit with some chrome blades a little bit earlier in the year, because I like the way that this fly, this 50/50 frog, kind of pops a little more than the Addiction. For me, the Addiction's late in the year. I think this 50/50 frog might be a little bit earlier in the year. We got sort of this fly is just kind of all by itself in a category, Hulk UV. It's totally different. It's got some really cool materials in it. It's got sort of an oil slick looking green, some black, and some UV. This to me seems like it has to be matched up with a particular flasher. I think it needs a chrome or a green flasher as its partner, and I think it probably needs a flasher with some UV material in it, or some UV tape on it, or some sort of shiny tape on it to some level, and I think that'll match really well. It also to me screams late in the year. After 4th of July, it's sort of an aggressive fly, and I feel like this is probably one that mature salmon will bite more out of aggression than out of hunger. So that leaves us with two more. A long-term winner for the Salmon Candy lineup called the Doughboy, which is similar to a few of the other frog flies, but it's got a lot of crinkle mirage in it. This is also a late in the year fly. In August, over the course of the last 5 years, that Addiction fly has been really, really good for me. So is this Doughboy. It seems like they really want one or the other. Sometimes they want the Addiction, which is a little more tamed down. This Doughboy is a little more pepped up, with the Mirage being a little brighter than the Little Boy Blue. Having a little more flash, but I really like this fly behind a white flasher. Some of the flashers, like a UV Lucky Charm, a Superman, I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head, Black Eyed Peas. Those are some of the ones that I've had really, really good luck with. And then last but not least would be the fly that kind of made its name for itself for us last year, which was a Poseidon fly that sort of put this whole program together of Salmon Candy making some of Poseidon's colors, which was the Milwaukee Minnow. And that was because my partner Nate on the fish stick charter boat was just pounding on a sample Milwaukee Minnow that we made up behind the Nate Stream Scale flasher, and this thing worked all year. I would put this in the category with that, that Illumination UV and that Mercy UV, where, this fly can work from the time you put your boat in the water to the time you take it out. It's got a little bit of green in it, a little bit of blue in it, and a bunch of silver. So it's a little bit more shiny fly. Definitely probably a little bit more of a high sun fly or up higher in the water column, but a great all-around fly. You may ask yourself, well, why would you want to have a big selection? Maybe why wouldn't I just buy the ones that work throughout the year? Well, it depends on if you want to maximize your potential and your time on the water, or if you want to just limit your choices. If you want to limit your choices, you could probably neck it down to Illumination UV, Mercy UV, maybe one or two of the other frog flies like a Brad's 21, maybe a Milwaukee Minnow, and those 4 colors or so right there probably would give you all you need. But if you want to maximize your time on the water and catch as many fish as possible, having an assortment of the flies so that you know you have the best color at that time readily available to you, and with Salmon Candy's interchangeable leaders to where you can pop the fly off and pop a new one on in just a few seconds, that gives you a huge advantage and a great opportunity. So hopefully this helps you understand when and where I would use some of these fly colors. And if you don't know where to get these, you can go to the realshot.com or visit the Salmon Candy website. There is actually a promo going on through the weekend that you spend for each $100 you spend, you will get a free 3-pack, of stimulus flies. So a little salmon stimulus promo going. Hope you guys are enjoying all the videos. We'll see you tomorrow.